You clicked because someone you know is a housewife or a stay-at-home husband. It could be your mum, your dad, it may even be you. They stay at home a lot, look after the kids. Their partner goes to work for most of the day. They clean the house, they might watch a lot of TV and spend a lot of time scrolling on their phone. It's the hard truth that a lot of our mothers, wives, fathers, and husbands are like this. All this has become so normalized in today's society. In reality, it could be setting them up for a world of pain. What's up guys, I'm Harry and today I'm going to discuss something pretty serious and applicable to all of us. Before I start, a quick disclaimer that I'm not a doctor, and if you're worried about anything I mention, please seek professional medical advice first. This video is strictly for educational purposes only. Now that I've said that, everything I say from now on is backed up by scientific studies, the links to which are posted in the description. Alzheimer's is a progressive brain disorder that slowly destroys memory and thinking skills. Dementia is the loss of cognitive functioning. Alzheimer's leads to dementia. You'll hear both terms pretty often as they are strongly linked. The World Health Organization estimates that 82 million people worldwide will have dementia by 2030, and the numbers are only rising. People with dementia eventually can't live independently, lose their memory and the majority of their brain functionality, as well as requiring around-the-clock care and attention. It is truly horrible and pretty much ignored in today's society. Now, I mentioned housewives in the title for a reason. Why are women more susceptible to dementia? Worldwide, women with dementia outnumber men with dementia 2 to 1. We can say this with certainty because brain scans tell us that the rate at which cells are dying in the brain are much faster in women than in men. Scientists say that this is not because women are doing anything terrible to induce dementia, but because of a biological hitch. You see, women have a hormone called estrogen, which affects their brain along with most bodily functions. There have been studies that show estrogen might protect brain cells. All women lose estrogen as they get older as a part of natural aging, and since estrogen protects brain cells from aging, decrease in estrogen as women get older may make them more vulnerable to Alzheimer's later in life. The news gets worse for women. Scientists believe estrogen is also the reason why women have a better memory for words than men. Now this is relevant because traditionally the first step of diagnosis for dementia is a verbal memory test. Because women are already good at verbal memory tests, they are underdiagnosed even if they have mild dementia. With women being 65% of the people affected by dementia, and potentially more due to the verbal test bias, they must take additional steps to prevent it from taking a hold of their lives. First, let me explain the link between mentally demanding occupations and dementia. But before I get into that, why did I mention housewives in particular? 1. They are women, and so more likely to be afflicted with dementia. And 2. They experience a lack of mental stimulation. It is a perfect storm for dementia to thrive. Their occupations aren't mentally demanding. This is not meant to be controversial. If you don't have a particular job and your home is your workplace, then the chances of you socializing, learning something new, having the opportunity to solve problems is going to decrease in general, compared to someone who has a job where they leave the house and interact with others on a daily basis. It's just harder to find opportunities in a closed environment. Your occupation affects your chances of dementia. Take this study. It concludes that people with more education and more mentally demanding jobs may have protection against the memory loss that precedes Alzheimer's. Another study found that those with Alzheimer's are more likely to have had less mentally stimulating careers than those who didn't have Alzheimer's. The correlation is clear. So what are the solutions? Let's talk about cognitive reserve for a moment. This is the mind's resistance to damage to the brain. These studies and many others provide evidence that cognitive reserve exists and that we can build up a resistance to brain damage. Having a mentally demanding occupation is only one way of protecting against memory loss and building your cognitive reserve. But having a mentally stimulating job isn't the only way to ward off dementia. Housewives and stay-at-home dads in particular need to find a way to stimulate their brains using other avenues. We can build cognitive reserve in other ways, through mental stimulation in general, and there is clear evidence for this. Researchers from this study concluded that complex mental activity across people's lives almost halves the risk of dementia. The study concluded that it was never too late to build cognitive reserve. Now this is great news. It shows that there is hope. no matter how old you are. It shows that having a mentally demanding occupation is not the only way to build cognitive reserve. In fact, it's never too late to start. A study with mice found that short but repeated learning sessions can slow the development of beta amyloids, which are hallmarks of Alzheimer's. And another found that an enriched environment with more opportunities to exercise, explore, and interact with others also reduced the levels of beta amyloids. Another study found that a cognitively active person in old age was 2.6 times less likely to develop dementia and Alzheimer's. Now, what do these tell us? They tell us that dementia and mental stimulation are irrefutably linked. There are ways to lower the likelihood of getting severe dementia, or even if you already have dementia, there are ways to slow down damage to the brain and vastly improve your quality of life that have nothing to do with having an intellectually stimulating job. These studies tell us that we simply need mental stimulation in general. If we make housewives and stay-at-home dads aware of these solutions, then it could lead to a much better quality of life for them. In terms of the specific solutions that do not include having a mentally demanding occupation, there are many. I'll go through the key ones that have studies backing them up. One study found that those who participated weekly in reading, playing games, playing musical instruments, and dancing were significantly less likely to develop dementia. Another study took randomly selected people aged 70 plus and found that those that participated in pottery and sewing and worked on computers had a 30 to 50% decrease in the risk of developing memory loss. This same study also found that participation in social activities and reading magazines during the ages of 50 to 65 were significantly associated with a reduced chance of memory loss later in life. Interestingly, watching more TV was associated with a higher likelihood of dementia, so that is something to take into account. Another key way of warding away dementia is to learn a new language. An analysis of 184 people with dementia found that the mean age of onset of symptoms in monolingual patients, those patients that spoke one language, was 71 years, while for bilingual patients, those that spoke two languages, was 75.5 years, a very significant difference. You can even start with something as simple as eating with a hand you don't usually use. The Alzheimer's Society in the UK backs up the idea of brain training. They say that even if there are no studies specifically backing up computer brain training, there is no harm in doing so. In general, it is activities involving multiple tasks or requiring communication, interaction, and organization that offer the greatest protection. Now let's consider what we can do with regard to our physical health in order to reduce the chances of dementia. Sleep is a key factor. The brain flushes out toxic buildups of beta amyloid, a protein that has been linked to Alzheimer's disease while you sleep. Poor sleep makes it much harder for the brain to do this work. Over time, the buildup of this beta amyloid may lead to dementia. Make sure you're getting a quality 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Consider high blood pressure. A 2017 study found that people with high blood pressure in midlife had a 40% higher risk of dementia. Type 2 diabetes also appears to cause brain changes that could harm memory and other brain functions. Cholesterol is another one that seems to encourage the buildup of beta amyloids. Solve these problems using diet and exercise, and you cut out a large factor contributing to dementia. Now, remember when we went over women and how a lack of estrogen as they age could contribute to dementia? Eating foods such as soy, nuts, and fruits can help to naturally boost estrogen levels and slow down the natural decline of the hormone, thereby reducing the impact of estrogen levels falling on dementia. A new review of the scientific research by the Cochrane Library, a world-renowned scientific review board, showed that mental stimulation improves scores on memory and thinking tests for those with dementia. Benefits were noted only in people in the mild to moderate stages of Alzheimer's and dementia. Those with severe dementia did not seem to benefit from the extra stimulation. The lesson to learn from this research is to never let it fester. The best way is to reduce the likelihood of it occurring in the first place as much as possible. The next best is to catch it while it's still mild. Letting it rot until dementia reaches a severe stage, crossing your fingers that it will just get better with time, can make it impossible to come back from. Take action now. Adopt a healthy lifestyle and keep your brain active. Encourage your family members to do so, and you will thank yourself later. Alright guys, I hope this was useful to you. Please share to spread the word. Once again, I'm not a doctor, so please consult a physician if you're worried about anything. If you want to see more interesting and hopefully useful stuff, I upload every week, then sub to the channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks for watching.